Alrighty, we've got a response from a developer about how they're working on the next patch, which is update 1.7.0. We also have a response from an Embark Studios team member regarding the Bobcat blueprint drops, and they discussed expeditions as well. Not only that, we're of course going to talk about so much more. If you can't do me a solid, let's start the video off by tapping the thumbs up button and the hype button below. With that said, let's jump in. Hey Raiders, we've got some news about the next upcoming patch. As you know, we just received update 1.4.0 yesterday, but now we've got news about the upcoming patch 1.7 that'll introduce improvements, changes, and fixes to VoIP. We could see an Embark dev posted this a week ago and said, "We will most likely get a next patch of fixes out in 1.7. My colleagues are and have been brewing up a bunch of changes, improvements, fixes for this feature, but takes a bit of time to go through the release process. Stay tuned and keep track of the official VoIP support docs as we update them with new findings." So it seems that they're working on a patch, and you could tell this developer is talking about a ton of changes coming to VoIP, but it's not just that, because I'm sure they're cooking up more than what's mentioned here. The reason I think that's the case is we received update 1.4 or 1.4.0 yesterday, and we also know that next month we have the new event, Raider deck, and so on. I can also tell you when the next update is going to drop. If you look here, we can see that patch 1.2.0 was released on November 13th, patch 1.3.0 went public on November 20th, and lastly, patch 1.4.0 went live yesterday. And all those dates fell on a Thursday. Now, if we look at the calendar, they're going to release an update every Thursday, so that means 1.5.0 will arrive on December 4th, 1.6.0 on December 11th, and lastly, 1.7.0 will arrive on December 18th, a Thursday, by the way. And I have a strong feeling that's when the Cold Snap event is going to arrive, maybe even the new deck, as well as everything else that they've got planned will go live. Anyway, we've got another developer who responded to a different player who asked if they're aware of the Luna outfit and how the helmet clips through the body. In response, an Embark developer named Apple Pie wrote, "Yeah, you're right. It's a known issue that we're actually looking into right now because it affects more outfits. Unfortunately, it's not a super simple fix due to how our characters are set up in the engine." And Apple Pie ended the post by saying it's on their radar. I think there are some other outfits like that are kind of messed up in some ways, if I recall correctly. Anyway, but yeah, it seems that it's complicated, and perhaps they'll have a fix in a future patch for it. As well as giving us the option to put helmets on different outfits would be so cool to see as well. Continuing on, an Embark Studios team member replied to a few questions on the official Arc Raiders Discord. For instance, the first question was about the Locked Gate event, how the Bobcat blueprint only dropped during the event, and when can we expect to have it reintroduced into the game. An Embark Studios team member named Austin replied to say, "Yep, I replied about this issue earlier today. The team is aware and working on it. Perhaps we'll see, possibly a fix for that in an upcoming patch, maybe next week. Who knows?" Alrighty, up next, she was asked if she could confirm what their community manager Lily wrote about how the current currency in your wallet will count towards your stash value. Basically, it's about the expeditions, right? And Austin wrote back to say yes. So it's confirmed. Also, if you're wondering if they're going to give us more details about expeditions, they actually are, because she replied to a question right here where this member asked if they can give us any details on how much value we need for maximum points. So she said this in response, that they'll share more details once we're closer to the expedition window. The next question was if they got a specific time for the expedition window and when it'll be. And she said that basically, the team knows there's a lot of questions about it and they're working on it. I think this is great. We definitely need more details surrounding the whole thing, and I'm sure they'll drop a great blog post eventually, basically telling us everything we've been wanting to know about the expeditions. Also, their community manager wrote this in response to a different player. "There will be more details to communicate soon, so let's wait for more official clarification and exact numbers. Just don't want to give any false info until it's 100% clear, With that said, stay tuned, and I'll be sure to keep you updated on the whole entire news regarding this. Now, besides questions about expeditions, we've got a question here about whether they have any plans to implement a toggle ADS option. The response to that is she wrote that the team is looking into adding it to the game. If you've been wondering about the same thing, then there you go. That's what they've got planned. We also have another question here, but a different one, regarding an issue with a quest. Specifically, there's a quest that'll have you use a patrol key. However, there's a report here that a player lost it due to getting destroyed by a bastion, and they're having trouble finding another patrol key. So she asked what mission it was. In response, the same player replied that it's the armor transport quest. And lastly, Asa replied with this: "My team tells me that you can still find a key on blue gate containers, lockers, drawers, etc., but the spawn rate is pretty low." Yeah, that doesn't seem too fun. If you're watching this, let me know. I'll give you a patrol key. I've got two, and I don't mind sharing. In fact, I'll send you a message to help you out. Nevertheless, that seems like a huge pain, and personally, I don't like quests like that where if you lose the key card, you have to find another one because, well, let's be honest, it can get really annoying. Not sure how many of you feel the same way, so yeah, that's my 2 cents. Okay, with that question out of the way, we've got another one, but this time it's about whether they're going to fix the trophy bug on PlayStation. She replied that they're working on it. The last thing we're going to briefly discuss is mouth smoothing, and will they give us the option to turn it off? The response is pretty much the same thing. Yeah, they're working on that as well. And that's all the questions that this Embark Studios team member was able to answer. If you have anything to say about everything we've talked about so far, please leave a response below, drop a comment, and let me know what you think. Continuing on, the developers just released episode 2 about how Arc Raiders was in development and what they had to do to change things up to make it more interesting. While I was watching this video, I saw a few things that I'd like to point out from it that I think you'll find interesting as well. First up, there was a specific part in the video where they showed that they had a battle pass in mind. So I'm guessing at the time it wasn't going to be called a Raider deck. They were going for something more basic and just called it a battle pass. Not to mention, there were daily challenges that once completed would make you wait 24 hours for more challenges. And thankfully, they changed the whole thing around, letting us earn credits as much as we want. Now, in this clip, they were going to call it battle pass points. Again, something basic. Speaking of stuff being changed around, I saw something I think they should absolutely go back to, and that's the XP reward for completing quests. As far as I know, currently completing a quest doesn't reward you with any sort of XP right now. Instead, it just gives you items and rewards, right? Well, if you take a look at this screenshot I grabbed while watching the second episode, they've got an XP icon in the reward list, meaning at one point we were going to receive XP for completing quests. And I think they should consider bringing that back. I mean, it only makes sense to me considering other games reward you with XP for completing quests. Nevertheless, what do you think? Should they bring back the reward or not for XP? If you have any thoughts, feel free to drop a comment below. Now, before we wrap up this part of the video, I just want to point out one more thing, and what really stood out to me was that during episode 2, they revealed a legendary augmentation blueprint, as you can see in the bottom left. If I had to guess, I'd say the developers still have it in mind, considering that in this screenshot, they also show some blueprints we currently see in game. I'm assuming we'll have to find legendary parts to construct this blueprint. Similar to how we had to defeat a matriarch, grab the matriarch core, as well as some other items to craft the Aphelion. I'm absolutely ecstatic about, crafting a legendary augmentation, and I can't wait for the day we see legendary blueprints for augmentations, as well as shields, grenades, and so on. Oh yeah, now, not to ask another question so quickly, but I do want to know, how do you feel about a legendary augmentation blueprint, or even a legendary grenade blueprint? Something like that. And in fact, let me know how soon should the developers, introduce it. Does it sound cool or no? Let's talk about it. Moving along, we have something absolutely crazy to cover, and it's going to help you a ton, especially if you find yourself in this same predicament. So first off, before I showcase the problem, we all know how the developers implemented a trap in every single locked keycard room. So if you somehow manage to glitch into the room, it'll set you on fire, right? We all know this. So, with that being said, it seems that there's something incredibly buggy about it, because in this video clip, you'll see how I'm against the wall. Then you can see that it sets my raider on fire. And it's all because right behind this wall, there's a keycard room on the upper floor of the container storage area, which is a point of interest on Spaceport, of course. So if you find yourself in a similar situation where you're on top of this building, do not rub against this wall or get close enough to it. Otherwise, you'll turn into a crispy raider. There might be more locations like this that are bugged, and if so, let me know in the comments by leaving a response below. On a different note, True Gaming announced that Embark Studios just won the Best Multiplayer Game Award, and it's amazing to see that everyone's hard work paid off in the end. I mean, who would have thought or said a year ago, or whenever the game was announced, that Arc Raiders was going to take over? They came absolutely out of nowhere and delivered one of the most interesting games I've played in a while. Finally, before we wrap up today's video, we have to bring this up, and the developers absolutely need to know about it. If you don't know, there's a certain part in Spaceport where players are either hacking or glitching through walls, so they can essentially fire at players who are just running by, and it sucks so much when you lose your loot because of some cheater or exploiter. As you can see in this video clip right here, Baron von Jackal was running up towards the Spaceport Tower, and what do you know? Some incoming fire is just hitting them out of nowhere, through the walls, through somewhere. Yes, so it's so messed up, guys. And that player right there, or the cheater, is using one of those legendary items from the Queen and whatnot. But damn, this sucks, guys. Lastly, we've got the top comments first from It's Merge. I wish the keycard rooms were actually worth the keys. Takes forever to find a damn control tower key just so I can get average loot. Yeah, absolutely, my friend. I've used up several keys, went into some locked rooms, and just got really nothing. Like, I could go elsewhere and probably find the same exact loot. The second top comment is by Xerion that said, okay, fixing the door glitch was good, but turning it into an incinerator trap room is golden. That one caught me completely by surprise when I saw it. I was like, this is the best idea ever. I mean, you know, it fixes the whole situation entirely. The last and final top comment is by Benji DMZ that wrote, the developers patching a few breach techniques, then giving up because they know full well they can't patch out every single wall breach glitch that gets found, and then solving the issue by just incinerating people who break into the room is hilarious. Again, yes, I think it's hilarious, I think it's clever, and they did a hell of a job with it. But yeah, those are the top comments. Hope you have enjoyed today's video. If you have, consider tapping the thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications if you haven't done so already. Thank you again for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.